There's an age-old saying in the financial services industry that people buy mortgages, but they need to be sold protection. And this is how things have been going for a long time, right? Anyone that I speak with who's, aged 20 all the way up to age 50 typically go along this saying. It's generally the ones who are in their later stages of their career, whose business typically comes from existing clients, referrals, word of mouth, etc., that will stick to this saying, right? And listen, that's absolutely fine. I'm just here to share a different perspective with you. Whenever something becomes a norm, something that's, generally accepted and not challenged, well, it provides room for improvement. It provides room for innovation. If we take, say, for example, the high street, we're seeing the death of the high street at the minute. In towns all over England, all over the UK, shops are closing down at an alarming rate. And it's because people used to, just drive into town, find parking spots, walk around all the different shops, and they didn't think anything of it because, well, there was no other alternative. But whenever Jeff Bezos and Amazon came along, he knew that people didn't like having to travel to get the things that they wanted, having to wait for stock to come in, etc. Trying all different stuff, blah blah blah. And I say Amazon, just shopping online in general, clothes, products, whatever it is, getting it delivered to your door for a quid, free delivery, whatever it is, next day delivery, all of that stuff, making it a lot more efficient and providing a wider array of products in one place. That's what overtook the high street, and it's online shopping that's caused that to shut down. But the point is that innovation and new ideas is what causes old stuff to die off. And whenever things aren't challenged, whenever there's no competition to what's being done, it allows for standards to drop sometimes. And I want to share a completely different perspective on this today. So if you want to get some pens and papers and take some notes, whatever works best for yourself. The problem with saying that people buy mortgages is that you're limiting the amount of sales that you can make to people that have already decided that they're going to be one ahead with the process. This is for them. Let me reach out. Let me get this in place. But the reality is that if we take like a market, for example, let's call this the market. And there's a couple of different people in it. Let me do my best to draw these out super quickly. You get the gist of it. We'll do four, for example. We take this guy here. This guy is going to buy a mortgage. He's decided, hey, listen, this is for me. Let me go ahead and speak to somebody. Let me get this in place. I'm ready to move on this. Perfect. This guy is buying a mortgage. Maybe he needs a conversation about protection down the line because he doesn't know the importance of it. But he's going to buy a mortgage and be sold protection. And that's in line with the initial statement that I made. This guy, for example, he knows that he wants to, let's say he wants to get a new kitchen. He already owns a home. He's looking at borrowing about 40, 50 grand to get a new kitchen done. But he doesn't really fully know the terms involved with that, what actually goes into it. He's just not 100% sure. He'll do it at some point down the line. He absolutely will. But he's just a little bit uncertain about how the future looks. Isn't 100% convinced this is going to be the right solution for him. So he's still thinking about it. This person isn't going to get a mortgage, blah, 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 whatever. We can cut them out of the equation. And this is a first-time buyer who's currently living with their parents. They're only 23, like me. So they're still quite young. They don't have any savings for a deposit. They don't know anything about property prices, anything about affordability, getting their documents, pay slips in order, so on and so forth. But at some point over the next 10 years, that person is more than probably going to be going ahead and buying a mortgage or buying a home and getting a mortgage as well. So my point is that, yeah, absolutely, this person will go ahead and do business with an advisor straight away. And that's absolutely fine. But the point that I am trying to make is that if you're limiting yourself to just that person, then you're limiting the amount of sales that you can make as well. If we take somebody like this, for example, who is going to be getting the kitchen at some point over the next few months, the next few years, if you were to simply take some time to understand what they're looking to do, understand why they're looking to get a kitchen, what problems are they having with their own kitchen, what do they feel they could do or achieve with a new kitchen, and build out that gap, understand why they're really looking to take action, understand human behavior, build that gap from where they are and where they're looking to be, and instill confidence that you can provide that solution. Do you think that they're going to be more inclined to take action or less inclined to take action? Well, they're going to be more inclined to take action. But if I go back to the original statement, people buying mortgages and need to be sold protection, it takes the power of making the sale out of the advisor's hands and puts the ball in the prospect of the client's court. But people are lazy in general. People drag their heels. We're humans, right? We can't be 100% omniscient, 100% aware of the best solutions all the time. And until we're actually provided the clarity and the certainty that we're looking for by having a conversation with an expert, with a professional, well, we're not always going to know what we need to do. And we're not always going to reach out to have that conversation either. But it's not to say that by having that chat, we wouldn't be in a better position as a result of it. So my point is, is that for a human like this in this situation, absolutely they could benefit from being sold to. The problem is that most people think sales is like, oh, kitchen, you can do this. Like, I'm only going to charge you this. The rates are this. You should do it right now. And people don't want that, but it's not really sales. I'll try and get some sort of definition for sales. Taking someone from one position or one mode of action, one mode of decision making processes to another, and changing the way they're doing things, changing what they're doing, changing the actions and the position state that they're in. That's what I would consider a sale, right? But if someone's in a bad position and you put them in a better position, you charge them a fee, but the value, the perceived value from that outcome is higher than that fee, then, well, they're in a better position as a result of doing it. So everybody wins. You make the sale, they're in a better place as a result. Even the tax man wins. But here's the really interesting part about all of this, about the market, what I'm showing you here. And I'll get rid of this for a second just so I can make my point. If you're limiting yourself to people that have made the decision that don't need to be sold a mortgage, like I said, you're already limiting your sales. And if you're happy enough working with existing clients and there are referrals that come from that, that's absolutely fine. But the problem is that they're not scalable, right? They're not predictable, and you can't particularly scale your business off the back of them, which is why people get into this stuff. People get into marketing so they can predictably grow their business. If we take the market, and I'll do I think it's a pie chart, you know, the circle chart. The general consensus of the market is, and I'll highlight this, only 3% of any given market is ready to buy or ready to take action right now. Which means that of this other 97%, well, there's going to be more potential to do business there, right? Do you think that it makes sense to continue to focus on the 3% people ready to buy now, which, well, 99% of advisors are going to be competing for? Or does it make more sense to simply cater your processes and change your processes and target that towards the 97% who will be doing business at some stage in the future? We need to cater our processes to. Because for me, I think that's an absolute no-brainer. If you want to limit yourself to this, that's absolutely fine. But I wouldn't. And if you're watching this video, I don't want you to. If you're going to work with me, you're not going to either. So I'm going to X that out, and I'm going to take this out of the equation for a second. The problem with the other 97% is that most people don't have the expectations, the knowledge, the experience, or the skill set to convert them into clients. And that's where this video is going to come in useful, because there absolutely are ways to do it. Don't get me wrong, it's more difficult. It's going to take you more work, more research, and more time to understand these things and implement them. But time passes. And I think we're here for a reason. We're here to be productive. We're here to do good things with our lives, with our abilities, with our careers and our capabilities. So why not? But when it comes to this, most people in that 97% are going to be in the problem-aware stage. Let me write this out. Problem-aware. Let's say you put out an ad, for example, saying, are you looking to do this service? And I think, oh, yes, I resonate with that. But I'm not ready to do it right now. I'm not just going to give someone, you know, a broker fee, commit to this debt for the next 5 to 10 years to get this done. No way, that's crazy. I need to get certainty this is the right thing for me. I need to make sure it relates to my circumstances. I need to trust the advisor as well before I commit to it. All these things. And we can do that. We can get them confidence that this is the right thing for them. And we can get them the confidence in the advisor as well. So it's building that awareness of the solution for them as well. How do we get them to be solution aware, as well as it being problem aware? And I'll put some big question marks beside that, because that is the real question. How do we get them to be solution aware? Trusting the advisor is probably number one. They're not going to be willing to speak with you, to share sensitive information with you, to discuss their problems, their uncertainties, their goals with you as well, if they don't trust you as an individual. So the way that we can do this is by building a proper presence and building a proper brand online. 20 years ago, you can just mention in passing, oh yeah, check out my website. And that was fine. And people were checking out, oh wow, these guys have a website. That's so cool. But the world has changed, and it's leaving financial services in the dust at the minute. People spend more time on Facebook and Instagram than they do scrolling through Safari. That's just the truth of it. People don't scroll through websites. They scroll mindlessly through social media. But it's there that you can build that presence that you need. So other videos on how to build a proper presence and build a proper organic brand that builds the authority and trust that you need on social media. You can check out those videos. But for me, what I would be doing on initial contact is trying to get as much information over to them as possible, trying to get as much of my face and my presence over to them as I possibly can to build up that familiarity, to build up those repeating touch points, do it over as many platforms as I can, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, do it through SMS, WhatsApp, email, as much as I possibly can to completely flood this person's life with myself. If you're flooding them with content that's relevant to themselves, say you speak with them and they're looking to consolidate debts, and you say, hey, listen, I actually have a long form video just like this one that you're watching right now, off script, by the way, advisors. And I take you through different clients that were in your situation, how I help them, how this can be relevant to yourself. They're going to be more likely to do business with you as a result of doing that, or disqualify them. It's not right for them, and that's absolutely fine too. But for the majority of ones, your average close rate, your average number of clients per month will increase as a result of your leads watching this. So it's important that you have it there. Building a proper presence is what's going to allow you to build that trust. But at the same time, like I said, you need to make sure it's relevant for them. You can't always guarantee that someone watches this content. You can't make that happen, right? So the second point here is making sure that they see the solution as being relevant to them, and they have conviction and certainty that this is the right thing. So how will I put this? Conviction in the service, we'll call it. Number 2 is conviction in service. And the only way that you're going to do that, because the reality is some people aren't going to be suitable clients for you. That's just the truth of it. And if you're able to say to someone, I don't think this is good for you, then that's fine. It means you stop wasting time, attention, and energy on them. You can disqualify them, take them out of your qualified prospect statistic, and your close rate still stays the same. You get where I'm going with that. Order break, 2 seconds. Building out that conviction in the service comes down to understanding what their current situation looks like and what they want to do. If I go back to the debt consolidation example, say you're speaking with someone, 20 grand worth of credit card debt, they're paying 20-30% interest, whatever it is, £400 or £500 a month, just to service that debt. If you can help them consolidate that onto their mortgage, one monthly payment instead of 5 or 10 coming out, reduce the overall interest payments to £100 a month instead of 400 or 500. Does that make sense for them? Absolutely, it does. But they might not see that. They might not see that solution or that scenario as being what's best for them. So it's by understanding what their concerns are, really building out that the pain of that £400 or £500. What is this actually costing them? Aside from just money, there's the stress of carrying it around. There's the mental burden. There's where it's eating into other areas of their life. There's missed payments stacking up, which will affect future borrowing, so on, so forth. I'm sure you could go on for an hour about why this is so shit for the clients, but they might not see that. And that's the thing that you need to understand. Help them build that out and help them build out the consequences of not taking action on this. If they were to fix this, where does that leave them? What are going to be the positives? What are going to be the upsides? How does this actually benefit them? And this is like, I guess, the feature selling side of things, what people think sales really is. And it's by building out those 2 stages that you can instill the solution. And if there's a really wide gap and they cannot traverse that on their own, and you provide that solution via a bridge, well, they're going to be more inclined to take that solution as well. But you're only going to do that through a strong sales process. So couple your sales process, couple that strong discovery call, get them on for a video call, get your face on that call as well. That's what's going to build that trust, it's what's going to build that connection. And if they already feel like they know you through watching your content, through seeing your brand online as well, everything's playing in your favor at that stage. The problem is that most people just don't want to do this stuff. Most people just don't want to do it. The standard, like I said, for the last 20 years has been people buy mortgages and they need to be sold protection, and it takes the power of the sale out of your hands, and it limits the sale to the initial point of contact as well. I.e., if you speak with someone and they're not ready to buy, then that lead is a poor lead, or you don't register that you can ever sell to this person because it doesn't fit in with the standard of people buying mortgages. You instantly disqualify them as someone that you can't help. But do you think by having all those things that we just went through that you'd be able to get them in a position where they might be ready to take action? Absolutely, you could. But people don't want to do it. People don't want to do it. They don't want to build an organic presence. They don't want to develop strong sales process. And lastly, they don't want to spend the 1 to 2 years that it takes to learn this stuff, and forgot how to do an sign. 1 to 2 years that it takes to learn this stuff, and the 1 to 2 years to refine these processes and really make them better and really make them work for you so that you can profitably print money for your business. That being said, lucky for you watching this, I have spent the last 2 to 3 years building this out myself. For me to pay bills and for me to create the life and the business that I want, well, I had to figure these things out, right? But that's also my unique offering. I can help you shortcut the 1 to 2 years of getting this up and running, of doing the research, of learning it yourself. It's what I do for work. So if there is any interest in getting this installed for your business, understanding how to generate the leads in the first place, cater your sales process, your content processes, and your branding towards building that trust, building that relationship, so you're not stuck facing endless objections, chasing leads, not being able to book people in, so on and so forth, and saying the leads suck, these leads are shit. You don't need to be facing that all the time if you have the right processes, and you can make the sales and predictably grow your business the same way that Peter is doing. Peter's done 100,000 in 2025. Stephen, same last name as myself, 30 grand his first 3 months, consistently doing 20, 30, 40 appointments every single month since then as well, and converting at about 10, 20, 30% on any given month. You can do that too. And if you want more information on how it works, you want to have a chat with me to see if this could be suitable for your business too, by all means, click down the link below. You can get in for a chat with myself and we can explore things. But I appreciate you watching the video the whole way through. Leave a thumbs up if you're still with me, and I'll see you in the next video as well.